Hi, I'm Jonathan Plant. I'm Chief Markets Analyst at Alpha Capital Group. My background in the city, I've been working for 28 years really on the front line. My university degree had an industrial placement in it, which meant I started off at Sun Alliance Special Projects down in Horsham, which was brilliant, working with a load of actuaries. And actually, for the first time, everything made sense. They worked with distributions and statistics, sort of stuff that I thought, bit of gobbledygook this, how's this ever going to work? So that gave me a real feel that I wanted to be involved in risk environments, but I wanted to be in the financial markets really, the trading. That's the thing that I've been driven to do. So when I graduated, I joined Sun Alliance Investment Management, and that gave me a fantastic background. I got macro as a first love of mine, and I got to use that in a 6-month placing doing bonds, and then moved on to equities and met my mentor, a guy who was into technical analysis, Elliott wave theory. So that really got my juices going in that respect. So already I'm getting that macro and fundamental background. After that, I moved on to UBS in a really quite interesting way. So you get these things called soft commissions from the big brokers, one of which was a trading game, which I was sent along to play, and I won that damn thing. So it's all kind of like Pavlov dogs. There'd be news flow coming out, and you'd have to react and buy the right things, and won it by an absolute mile, to which somebody from UBS said, we need to get this kid. So they asked me to come along, and really that was the start of another sort of parallel journey. Every time I used to join someone, they'd either get bought out or have a merger. So Royal and Sun Alliance had a tie-up, so I took the money, paid off my student loan, joined UBS. A year into that, they merged with Swiss Bank. So a whole world of different things opened up doing that. And UBS was an amazing experience. Graduate trainee program over in Switzerland, learning all sorts of things, and then back into London, and started off trying to do special projects with the head of trading there. So I got to see all sorts of things, program trading, met quants for the first time, prop books. There were all sorts of different avenues to go. And then the merger came. So I'd always fancied trying to have a go at derivatives. So when we moved over, I got a trainee runner job. But life, was just about to go electronic based, so it didn't feel like it was the place without experience that I was going to survive in. So I switched back upstairs and became a market maker, and I've really been doing that on and off for the best part of 25 years really. So that time at UBS was brilliant. So I started off small cap market making, did mid caps, large cap, then it all went pan-Euro driven, so you'd be doing different countries and by sector. So I got to see loads of companies and got to go and see all sorts of weird and wonderful companies, etc. But I'd had 10 years after a while, and I wanted to do something for myself. And I had an opportunity of joining Aldersgate, which was a long short fund, but that just happened to be right in the middle of 2007, or start of 2007, just going into the GFC, the Great Financial Crash. So not exactly the right place to be, and all the hedges we were putting on were making more money than the ideas. So luckily, the person who ran that was also setting up down the corridor as a new entrant to the market called Liberum Capital. So we were first through the door and went into the secondary trading side. And that was amazing. That gave me a real opportunity because the crash had started, and all of a sudden it's, jeepers, this is like an A-level macro textbook playing out. And it was supposed to be 5 units, distinct research hubs that were going to make loads of money, and we do a little bit of trading on the side, feet up, and nobody wanted to do any IPOs, so all of a sudden we're going bust. So we dived in, loads of people from ex-mega bank. Can we create some content? So we started writing trading ideas. I'd do strategy and macroeconomics overlays. We'd have economists in, I'd be arguing with them. So that really got my juices going, as well as doing the trading on the side. That was great, and that lasted for another 7 or 8 years. And then my last sort of role was at Peel Hunt. Again, they've got a big retail franchise, so I'm used to trading with the smaller punter a little bit, and then we're trying to build out a large cap franchise within that. So, but in a certain way, the last few years have been tricky because the apathy that's in the UK market at the minute, it's just redemptions everywhere. And I think what we're doing at ACG and doing stuff more on a global basis, that's where the action is. Well, I think drivers for anyone getting into the financial industry are all around us. And we're sat here today in the city. I was a young lad in Sheffield that had a bit of an interest in financial markets, but didn't really know what to do with it. I'm watching programs on the TV, like there's a great film called Dealers, Paul McGann, and the people I can't remember the people were that set it up, but they built a £10 million trading floor, exact simile, fully working, blah, blah, and they used that for another series called Capital City, which is absolutely amazing. You had every facet of city life, corporate, trading, the drugs and drinking, womanising, as well as all the, the actual important stuff, the financial bit. Just really gritty, done really well. So that, already thinking this is great. And the main character, if I got it right, used to land his plane on the Thames. I thought, that looks fantastic. Can I get involved? And then there was another programme called Chancer. It's got Clive Owen in it. And I love the roles that he plays, and he was absolutely fantastic in this. And that was, again, a bit more wheelery-dealery, corporate side, a little bit of, back dealing. Fantastic, a great cast in it. So again, you think this is all amazing. You can, use your brain. There's money to be made. Can I get involved? Yeah, or you might have seen films at that time. There's Wall Street, which everyone always talks about. Other People's Money, Danny DeVito. Great premise, and that's really so true. And this is what Alpha Capital is. It's giving you the chance to use other people's money. How can you not be inspired? Imagine kids today, if you ask them, it's Wolf on Wall Street, something like that. But well, in fact, yesterday I was out with some of the younger traders I used to work with at Peel Hunt, and they were saying actually they're dying to watch Trading Places again, which is great fun, isn't it? I thought so many lines from that have been repeated over the years. But as I was alluding to, I really like the macro side of things, and real inspiration. I think all kids would be better at school if they had inspirational teachers. It's, you always remember the ones that do something really interesting like that. I had a lady, Vilma Gordon Walker, for GCSE, and Conrad Black for A-level, and they just so inspired me, the narratives, the stories, absolutely brilliant. So I thought, this really, I think, is for me. And then final piece of jigsaw, my grand's best mate, her son had become an economist, had a yuppie flat in Wapping. So I'm going, hang about, Wapping, that's on the Thames, the plane, I think that's my way in. So I just got to find a way. So I looked around, and I've got to get to London. So at City University Business School, I'd read that does a lot of banking and international finance degrees. They've got a new degree, insurance and investment, and as I've previously said, you can get a chance to go and work while you're doing that. So I came down, and I think what really convinced me then, we had a Lloyd's of London risk prize in the second year, and I won that. And I thought, blimey, I might actually know what I'm doing. So I said I'd got a love for risk, and then working on the special teams down in Horsham, they put me on a flood project, and I delved through loads and loads of info, mainly all about London and why, if that barrier goes, you don't want to be anywhere near it. So I'm going, right, if I understand risk, I'm getting as high as I can, and that's why my house is on top of the biggest hill in North Essex. Well, my training style has been made up of all those experiences that I've had over the years. So, technical analysis is at the forefront, and a lot of the guys that are trading at Alpha, we've got the tools there on the site for them. They've probably got their own favourite ones, and I'm going to be taking you through what mine are over the coming months, and helping you get a feel for that. But also, there's a fundamental side to the world, which is all the macro and all the reports and people talking, and you've got the news services. And to me, it's a combination of two. Neither one is in the dominance, and it's really key how they all come together. So my own background, I'm looking for what you'd call cartoon physics. Now, some of you will know exactly what I'm talking about straight away, and that's when you're watching something like Wile E. Coyote chasing Roadrunner, and they run over the edge of the cliff, and no one really notices until one of them looks down. Then it's, boom, the hero gets away with it. He'll grab a branch, but the thing we want to come off, that's hitting the floor. That's hopefully what we're going to tee up in the market, giving you that chance to, get on the end of one of those, and hopefully the other way around, the slingshots, the ones where they're going up. So how do I look at that? I'm looking at Elliott waves, really, wave theory. I like to see a 5-wave and a turning point. People call it swing trading. So it's a mixture of that, and then it's all about timing and looking for aspects that might be happening out there that tie in. So what you get a lot of time is the technical analysis, people saying they've got a chart and that's right, and then that doesn't work out, and people moan that it doesn't work. And then you've got the fundamentalists who'll talk to the blue in the face and they're still never right, but they'll be blaming it on market people and all this. And it's really about, things are happening in both worlds at the same time, and we need to know what's changing. So I like to look at what I call the second derivatives, and that's the rates of change of things. So if a bit of data comes out and everyone's focused on such and such, I'm looking to see how people have interpreted how that's changed from somewhere else, or there might be another layer. I mean, normally I say second derivative and I get a cold sweat because it reminds me of being back at school and what the hell is that all about? I wish I'd have listened a bit more. It's some powerful stuff in there. So I'm looking for the thing when everything aligns. If we get that sell-off that I've just talked about, we get the V shape into it. That automatically gets everyone excited. It all came for being last year with Truss. making that crazy budget, allowing kamikaze to, just make everyone think that it's getting hyperinflationary, but really the bonds have been selling off for weeks because the Bank of England have never sorted out this LDI problem. That's something I'll explain another day, and there's a load of jargon and lots more to come, but over the weeks. Today's not the forum, but we'll get everybody on side. But I'm looking for one of those V-shaped recoveries, and then it's time, as over the years we've said in the city, it's like release the GIMP. We know something big's happening here, and it's time to scare everyone. Get the GIMP out. And similar things happened in 2007, the great financial crash. When we started moving in 2009, some wag got hold of a video from one of the American baseball teams about the rally monkey, and that's the monkey there playing the drums. Every time you get a rally, we want to unleash that rally monkey. Let's get that. Let's have those videos flying in, guys. Get them on your desks. The real pick me up on the day when you get it all right. Other things I like to look at are game theory, which again sounds off the charts. There's a film about it with John Nash. It's well worth a look. But the bits I take from that is the key points of game theory is things are blocked until you change the payoffs. So people won't respond until you give them an encouragement. In life, too often people just want to punish everyone, but it's actually when you incentivize people that's when we get things going. So I'm looking at data, I'm looking at oil gridlocked, gold, inflation. What is it that's going to get that thing to move that no one else is talking about or listening to? And we throw that in with the technical analysis, and then we're off to the races. Now, so you people will pick up a bit of a swing trade. Is not going to be any good at the short-term stuff. Well, I can dip in and out the short-term stuff, but that is hard work. Having a consistent approach over a 15-minute time period. You're not only you're watching every move and kicking every ball, but it's hard dipping out. You'll have loads of winners, and then you get overconfident, and vice versa. So I like to have a slightly longer time frame, but as I'll explain later, time frames are important. There's more than one. People can trade in all sorts of different time frames. A lot of people will probably be focused on short-term trading from what I've seen with a lot of the videos online. I'm looking to come in and just educate a little bit more that all these things exist at the same time, and there might be in opposite ways, but I'll be doing a series of talks bringing you through what my thinking is. So to me, a market's one giant sentiment engine. As I said before, there's lots of players and lots of time frames that people are trading in. So you've got all sorts of people who are hedging, speculators, market makers, brokers, IDBs, all these crazy people. There's hedge funds, quant funds, family offices, sovereign wealth. They're all doing different things at the same time. You've got M&A, you've got people doing buybacks. It's like, who's in control? It's buyers versus sellers, and who is in the ascendancy. Often if you work in the markets and something strange happens, you'll often be faced with this question of what's moving it? And someone will go, well, there's more buyers than sellers, isn't there? Like, well, it's true, but it's like we need to know who we're playing with, who are those who've got the most influence. Now, I've talked about rent a quote before that you get from Bloomberg and CNBC. I like to throw a few in. There's one famous one from the 90s, James Carville. He was political advisor to Bill Clinton. And he said this thing that if there's such thing as reincarnation, I used to think that I want to come back as a president or pope or a 0.4 baseball hitting star. So, but I've changed my mind. If I die, I want to come back as the bond market, because then you can intimidate everybody. And it's true, they had these mega spending plans to do, and they got punished by the market. Interest rates went from 5% to 8% very quickly, which, as you've seen today, when they move by more than 1%, you're getting hammered. 3%, they were told to rein in the spending. What's happening in the markets today? We've got rating agencies downgrading the US on the fact that their spending's out of control. We had the rates going out of control. So what does that say to you? That tells you that things, they don't exactly repeat, but they rhyme, which reminds me, another quote. I say rent a quote now, the Mark Twain quote about history never repeats, but it rhymes. I came across that really in reading Liar's Poker by Michael Lewis, where he paraphrased it a little bit and said that the only thing history teaches us is that it teaches us nothing at all, but lots of things will repeat within that. So if you look at markets, expect to see things happen time and time again. We've just got to look out for those patterns. To me, a good way of looking at markets is think of Russian dolls, that you can peel one back and you've got another one that looks like it, inside's a bit small, a bit different. And you can play with that, and that's where that whole time frame thing comes in that we're talking about. Different people are doing different things all at the same time. Yeah, so to me, the markets, it's ultimately complex. It's a game, there's so much in there, all over the place, different angles. Can we find what the real drivers are out there on a daily basis? And that's what we're here to try and help you to do on your trading journey. have I ever been David versus Goliath in the market? Well, yeah, when you start out, you've got very little help and you don't know what you're looking at. It's really tough. Unlike the offering we've got here today at ACG, and I'd love to have had that when I was coming through. You've got idea generation, you've got support, you've got people looking out for you, they're analysing, what your trades are, even your psychology. So that'd have been brilliant. So yeah, so the ACG offering today is fantastic. You've got support, you've got people looking out for you. They're helping with your psychology, your trading style, what you win on, what you lose on. I wish that had been around when I was there, because you very much felt like you're on your own. You traded with the index boys and you weren't really sure that they were playing fair, and it's difficult. You didn't have the right tools. What's in there in the background, you might have had Bloomberg or CNBC if you were lucky on the telly, but they roll out the buyers in the blue and the sellers in the red and the doomsters, and there's only so much of that you can watch without pulling your hair out. But they do have fantastic people on there, and this is where we can get the edge. I've been around a long time, and I'm pretty good at reading between the lines of what people are saying, and this is where we can get out the little nuggets and get that across and put it again and alongside the technical analysis, help with a bit of timing. Because famously, I was coming down for my interview at UBS years and years ago with a mobile phone, and I got a position on. I'd done all the due diligence, I'd looked in the diary, there's nobody announcing anything, there were no macro out, no speeches. And by the time I got to London, I got my reception back, my answer phone was full, got people saying you're getting stopped out here, there, and I was like, what the hell's happened? Alan Greenspan had somehow got sidetracked into talking about irrational exuberance, which just smashed the bits out of the market, and I'm long and wrong, no stop loss, and that is a very rude awakening for you as a young man. And I reckon I lost 40% of my capital on that day, when I'm thinking blasé, there's no way I can lose today. That's crazy. So if we're in a fight with Goliath, the giant, we need a heavyweight of our own, and who better than the 2002 US Defense Secretary, Donald Rumsfeld, famous for being a bit of a nutter. He had this speech called The Unknown Unknowns. What he'd said was basically in life there are known knowns, but what he's really interested in is the unknown unknowns. Well, if you can find me someone that knows those, then we don't have to worry about anything, do we? He misquoted himself. And when you delve into everything he talked about, it's the other bits that are important. And this is what we're looking for as people who are trading, and it's the nuance of the whole thing, what's out there. It's the known unknowns and the unknown knowns. So literally, it sounds crazy, but it kind of works. So we know that there are things we just don't know, but we're going to find out, and it's kind of how we're going to place ourselves to do that. But to me, the real key, where the strength's going to come from, how we all work together, is the unknown knowns. Looking at what is there, what combinations of things that are out there actually tells us something different. So when I was trained at UBS in a bit of derivatives, it was always about, you might have A, B and C of something, but what your real position in is D. And that's what we need to think about. You might yourself be positioned long with the dollar and long the bond and short gold, and you might have triple the same position when you think you've got different things on. So I want to bring you forward and help you go, just be careful what your exposure is there, because one big move, you're going to get wiped out. What are the successful traits of a trader? Well, when you find out, can you let me know? The whole way I look at markets is everything evolves over time. You learn so much. I'm still learning. There's loads that I don't know, but I try and keep things simple to what I'm looking at. The psychology is such a key in all this. How do you cope when you've put in hours and hours of work, you've done absolutely everything, you've covered everything, and it still goes wrong? You're long and you're wrong, and you've got to cope with that. The temptation to double down, triple down, it's immense. You can't even do it to that extent in this system, and quite rightly, because it's something to get away from. You might have the opposite thing where you're short, and they call it short and caught. The thing squeezes away from you and gets hurt. And in fact, I think shorting is probably one of the hardest things to do in the market, because psychologically, you're going to be wrong. So take stock prices, for instance. They call their distribution log normal, which means the price can't go below zero, but it can go up to infinity. So most of the time, stock price is going to go up then as a result. And you're shorting it, you're going to win, but most of the time it's going up. And that's the problem. You're going to be losing 9 days out of 10, but when the 10th day comes, hopefully you're still in and you win. But getting to that stage, you're going to be in bits. You're going to be all over the place. It's a real tough combination. Don't be a he-man. You're not a master of the universe. You might get it right a few times in a row, but that's when it's going to hurt you. You start to think that nothing can stop you. That's when the rug's going to come from under your feet. Fear of missing out. That's often mentioned these days. Never really used to happen. It used to be called fear and greed, and it was always a sliding scale between one or the other. And you will be affected by that. what, to me, historically, and chatting to people over the years, staking is the most important thing. You can have all the right ideas, but if you mess the staking up, it's no good. So you've got to learn to build and massage your positions. Again, I think the way the ACG model is, if you look at it and use stop losses and put limits in, you can do this properly. And the way I look at it is you need to massage your way in, massage your way out. A lot of people go from being what they think is Masters Universe, working for a mega bank. They stop to do it for themselves or to work for a prop fund, and they think they've got a mega bank swag bag sat by them and they can just keep doubling up and whatever. That's just not going to work. And getting used to that is so difficult in the markets. For me, one of the best bits of advice I always got was buy yourself time, and then you can see things. So buy yourself time literally can be just the way you do your positioning, or you can, if you suddenly lose your thread, you don't have to close it out. You can hedge out. So you can have a position both ways, and you can do that at ACG. Then when things turn, you can unwind it. Be careful with your daily stop losses, but we'll talk into that as we go along. So at the end of the day, this is one of the most stressful things you can do as a career. Only deal with what you can deal with, stuff that you can touch. Otherwise, you're just adding stress into the mix. How do you deal with it? I heard a great quote the other day. How are you dealing with the food blender of random market occurrences that today's market is? Gobbledygook, but it's spot on. Everything's being thrown at you. You can't be doing every position consistently. Focus. So what I'm hoping to do here at Alpha Capital Group is help you develop some of these traits. We have that combination. We've talked now about a lot of things: technical analysis, fundamentals, psychology. I've been through the mill on loads of these things. It's like I'm scarred myself. I hate momentum trading because being a market maker for so long, you're always playing against someone that knows more than you, and you're having to chase back losses, and then you don't know whether to buy it or sell it, and in the end you end up having to trade the end of the market to make the money. So lots of bags of experience. I'm here to give something back. Want to help you guys, and I'm on this same journey with you. So let's work together. So I'm really excited to be joining the boys at Alpha Capital Group because they appeal to my basic sense of fair play. Anyone that knows me in the market knows that integrity and fair play is my middle name, and that I'm happy to win or lose against you, but we're doing it the right way, and we'll take you on. Trading in itself is a journey, and the boys have said it previously. They don't need me to say it. It's all about us being with you for the long haul. There's no way either of us survive unless we're all looking after each other. So that, to me, prima facie is the way that we're going with this. Look at the platform that you've got, and that's ever evolving. We're trying to improve it all the time, and that, I've said before, I wish I'd have had it when I was starting out as a youngster. There's so much support there. Take advantage of all the tools. I want to be part of building that out, to leaving you with a decent legacy to play with. So I was intrigued talking to George, and he was trying to explain what he thought Alpha was to people, and to me, when I've heard of Alpha over the years, it's kind of first mover, primary advantage, person of choice that you're going to go with. Alpha is also finding the right information, being first to it, and I think that comes from when the sort of psychology side of things. Alpha's state of mind is supposedly, if you can reach it, you're in your most creative, and that's what we want to be. We want to get you in the right state of mind. Chat to the boys at length that they really want your experience to be extraordinary at Alpha, and as a result, I think that's going to make us the #1 funded prop account of choice, if for some reason we aren't already.